We have some fascinating new updates in Lynette Hooker's disappearance, with a big thanks to Ashley Banfield from Drop Dead Serious. She flew all the way over to the Bahamas where this took place, which is Hopetown, Elbow Key, and Marsh Harbor. She employed the services of a boat captain named Captain Ronnie, and he had some really important insights. Now, for a really brief recap of her husband's story, they left the bar in Hopetown around 7:30. They were on their little dinghy to go back to their yacht toward Elbow Key. Now, on that ride, it was really windy. There were 2 to 3 foot waves, and at some point, his wife Lynette just bounced out of the boat. There was a current. They got pulled apart. He was not able to get back to her. She also had the key, and so he couldn't drive the boat anymore, and so he ended up paddling all the way back to Marsh Harbor and got help. He didn't get there until around 4 a.m., so it took him 9 hours. So Captain Ronnie was out on the water that day. He says, yes, it was windy, not abnormally windy at all. He also says the water was normal. It was maybe choppy. There were not 2 to 3 foot waves. There's no reason she should have bounced out of the boat, meaning there were no external circumstances that should have made that happen. He also said that the trip to their yacht from the shore in their dinghy would have taken 10 minutes. And so that means around 7:40 is the latest that she would have actually fallen out of the boat. And you can still see in the water. So light shouldn't have played any factor in whether or not he could still see his wife, Lynette. I have a few more things, and the real kicker is at the end. Okay, so in between where he was and Marsh Harbor, where he went to get help, there's an island. I think it was called Lover's Island, something like that. But he says that island is populated. There's businesses, there are homes. He could have easily gotten help there, but he would have had to go around that island to get to Marsh Harbor. So why would he have not stopped there if he was urgently seeking help to find his wife from the Coast Guard? He also said, based on the location, there's no currents, there's no like riptides, there's nothing that happens right there that would have like pulled them apart from each other. Nothing that he knows of. Remember, he's a captain, okay? So what is Brian describing that would have actually pulled them apart from each other, making it impossible for Brian to go after her, to paddle toward her, instead of having to paddle to shore? Now remember, Lynette is a strong swimmer. Now lastly, and this is the kicker, okay? It took Brian Hooker 9 hours to paddle from where he says that Lynette fell overboard to Marsh Harbor to get help, okay? Captain Ronnie says he has swam that exact distance from that location in a little over 2 hours. He swam it, not paddled, swam it. Not only that, based on how the winds were moving that night, the winds would have actually helped Brian. They would have helped him move faster. So why on earth did he not show up until 9 hours later? I think it goes without saying, but I do not believe his story. I think that something else happened. I do not think she fell overboard, and I think that time was used to cover up a crime.